Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody had a fabulous weekend. Here we go. Monday morning, lots of news. Stay tuned. Let's jump in and get there, shall we? Let's go. We are going to start off with Zara Tyndale, who on Friday the 15th was seen at the Cheltenham Racecourse. She was there for the presentation of awards after, of course, the racing. She was in a power suit. She looked absolutely gorgeous, but let's be fair. When does she ever not look gorgeous? Now, this may not be the time to bring it up, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. I've noticed that a lot of the press, UK and US, try to pit these royal women against each other. Look at the title of this story. Zara takes fashion lead from Princess Kate. She's not taking a fashion lead from Princess Kate. Just because Catherine wore a suit doesn't mean that Zara's following her just because she wears a suit. You guys know where I'm going with this. It's like the press is constantly trying to pit these women against each other. It's kind of old. They each have their own style. They look great. And a big thank you to Remoulade Sauce for letting me know what she was wearing on day one. Now, on day two, there was a Christmas meeting at the race course, and of course she went back. She's wearing that hat. Love the hat. She's a hat girl. We know who else is a hat girl, right? Taz from According to Taz and Steph the Altar Nerd. Those girls can wear hats just like she can. Amazing. And again, a big thank you to Remoulade Sauce for all the information on what she was wearing. Now, Zara and Mike were also spotted at a Christmas party for a charity. It was hosted by the Green Room Experience, and this is for a cure for Parkinson's, which is a charity that Mike apparently has been very supportive of for years. Apparently, his father, Philip, had Parkinson's or has Parkinson's. So he's been the ambassador since 2018. He gave a speech. He looks fabulous in crushed velvet. And Zara looked great in her crushed velvet suit as well. Moving on. Now, when I say that they're pitting these women against each other, this is exactly what I'm talking about. So Camilla's going to do a podcast. So she's only doing it because Meghan did it. You get it? I mean, it gets to be a joke. It's the Queen's Reading Room, and it will be available weekly from January 8th on, and it will feature Queen Camilla and other people like Dame Joanna Lumley, Sir Ian Rankin, and they're going to be promoting the joy of reading. I think that's lovely, and it's going to help charity. You know, I sent her a copy of my father's book, which, by the way, is still available on Amazon. The link is in the description box. Wouldn't it be wonderful if she read it online? All right, moving on. Let's turn our attention now to Catherine Middleton's brother, James Middleton. He went to the supermarket. He had his baby boy strapped to his chest, and he did an Instagram commercial. You can see it. And he talks about, I'm going there and more to buy diapers, but while I'm there, you can buy the dog food. That's right. He has launched an all-natural pet food company. It's called Ella and Company in 2020, named after, his dog Ella, who died in January. I think that's just wonderful. It's like all natural food. And in his Instagram ad, he says that this food is approved by all of his dogs who have been testing it. He's been feeding it to them. And he says, I believe the best thing you can do is feed them the best possible diet. And now you can. I think that's wonderful. New business venture. I'd buy it in the United States if I could get it here. Moving on. Next up, let's move on to King Charles. This is really cool. Apparently, a new 90-minute documentary was made. It gave a behind-the-scenes look as Charles was getting ready for his coronation. And they're saying, according to this article, this is the very first time a crew has been given what they call fly-on-the-wall access to the royal family, excuse me, in the run-up to such a, momentous event. It was written and co-produced by Oxford Films by the Mail's own royal expert, Robert Hardman. It has interviews with family members. Princess Anne is in there. Staff, what responsibilities they had for making the day so wonderful. It shows the King and Camilla in last-minute preparations at Buckingham Palace. It's being narrated by Helena Bonham Carter. And when they say it shows behind the scenes stuff, it really does. In other words, the Queen at one point, according to this article, is walking towards the exit, accompanied, by her grandsons. And she turns around and says, "Don't tread on my dress, or that's going to be a problem. And at one point, they said the king actually took his robes and kind of flapped them and said, "Look, I can fly." I think that's adorable. All right, moving on. All right, let's move on to Harry now. We know what happened with this case. He won less than half of the, times he said he was hacked. He won only a little bit of the money he was asking for, which is going to be gone very quickly. Anyway, he is accusing the Mirror's legal department, their editors, their directors, their board members of all colluding. And he is asking the police now to open a criminal investigation. And he specifically went out of his way to mention Piers Morgan. He's still claiming without a shred of proof that Piers Morgan knew all about the phone hacking. And I love the response from the police. "We will consider the civil judgment, but there was no ongoing investigation." Correct. Let's be real. I agree with this Twitter user. He has dragged Diana's name through the mud. He let us know that Chelsea was the love of his life. Protocols have already been put into place to prevent this from happening. This happened 15 years ago, if not longer. This sort of thing doesn't happen anymore thanks to William and what William did. But, of course, Piers Morgan came right out and had a statement, and I'm going to play the whole statement for you because it's shocking. So listen to this.
Various cases, including Prince Harry's claim against Mirror Group newspapers, where I was an editor until 2004. The judgment finds there is just one article relating to the Prince, published in the Daily Mirror during my entire 9-year tenure as editor, that he thinks may have involved some unlawful information gathering. To be clear, I had then, and still have, zero knowledge of how that particular story was gathered. All his other claims against the Daily Mirror, under my editorship, were rejected. With regard to the judge's other references to me in his judgment, I also want to reiterate, as I've consistently said for many years now, I've never hacked a phone or told anybody else to hack a phone. And nobody has produced any actual evidence to prove that I did. I wasn't called as a witness, it's important for people to know this, by either side in the case, nor was I asked to provide any statement. I would have very happily agreed to do either or both of those things had I been asked. Nor did I have a single conversation with any of the Mirror Group lawyers throughout the entire legal process. So I wasn't able to respond to the many false allegations that were spewed about me in court by old foes of mine with an axe to grind, most of which inexplicably were not even challenged in my absence by the Mirror Group counsel. But I note the judge appears to have believed the evidence of Omid Scobie, who lied about me in his new book, and he lied about me in court, and the whole world now knows him to be a deluded fantasist. And he believed the evidence of Alistair Campbell, another proven liar who spun this country into an illegal war. Finally, I want to say this. Prince Harry's outrage at media intrusion into the private lives of the royal family is only matched by his own ruthless, greedy and hypocritical enthusiasm for doing it himself. He talked today about the appalling behaviour of the press, but this is a guy who's repeatedly trashed his family in public for hundreds of millions of dollars, even as two of its most senior and respected members were dying, his grandparents. It's hard to imagine, frankly, more appalling behaviour than that. As for him saying this is a good day for truth, the Duke has been repeatedly exposed in recent years as someone who wouldn't know the truth if it slapped him around his California tanned face. He demands accountability for the press, but refuses to accept any for himself for smearing the royal family, his own family, as a bunch of callous racists without producing a shred of proof to support those disgraceful claims. He also says he's on a mission to reform the media when it's become clear his real mission, along with his wife, is to destroy the British monarchy. And I will continue to do whatever I can to stop them.
You look very emotional.
I mean, exactly. Harry said in his statement 5 years ago, defamatory stories and intimidation have been deployed against me and my family, at my family's expense. But what did he do to his grandfather, his father, his brother, his sister-in-law? I mean, this is why I say he's delusional. Harry has so many lawsuits going, people are getting confused, so let's just cover those really quickly. First, you have the Mirror Group newspaper over the phone hacking. This is the one that just ended. He won, but he lost. He had asked for over $500,000. He won only $174,000. Instead of settling the case like William did, now he has to pay attorney's fees. He has to pay on the other case that he just lost. He drug his mother's memory through the mud. Now we all know that Chelsea was the love of his life, not Megan. If you read this is basically the judge doing his own recollections may vary. Like, seriously, the judge was unimpressed. The judge called out Harry's witness statement, saying he was grandstanding and it didn't even remotely comply with the requirements. Look what he wrote. The Duke gave evidence at some length, but in his written witness statement and when cross-examined, his witness statement was in large part an argument against the vindictiveness of the press. And they said that his attorneys basically did a bad job and they were responsible for that statement. Yep. Now, next up, Harry is also suing the News Group newspaper over, again, phone hacking. The problem is, and by the way, that's the group that publishes the Sun tabloid and used to do the News of the World. So that group is saying this should have been brought sooner, but Harry said, well, I couldn't have because there was a secret agreement between the British royal family. But the High Court ruled in July Harry could not sue them for phone hacking and rejected his argument that there was a secret deal between the publisher and the senior royals. But the remainder of the case was allowed to continue, and that trial will take place early of 2025. Now, there's the lawsuit against the Associated Newspaper. That's a libel claim. So Harry sued them in 2020 over an article where they stated that he snubbed the Royal Marines. So the Associated Newspaper apologized and paid damages. Well, Harry then went and launched another lawsuit over an article that said that he was accused of trying to mislead the public about a separate legal battle within the government over his police protection. And the High Court said that A&L can use their defense. So basically, unless the Leveson inquiry, which is a private, inquiry that was done, is allowed to be used, and the judge has already said he can't use it, unless that's allowed, that case is going nowhere. And finally, you have the lawsuit that he has going with Elton John and Elizabeth Hurley against the Daily Mail and the Mail on Sunday for illegal information gathering. So that's where we are with all of his cases. I love what this Twitter user wrote. Remember, Harry said it was slaying a dragon. If he really wanted reform, he would have taken the original $200,000 offer and spent his time raising millions for Archwell, which he could have donated to fighting misinformation. Yep. I also agree with this Twitter user. Harry and Meghan are now, this is more misinformation. He won, but not really. And they're trying to spin it like it was this great big win. And now the bots are out. Thank you to Her Most Imperial Majesty. As you can see, if you look up at the top, these are the exact same things posted by different people. These are the tactics they use to spread misinformation. Go figure. Now, I have to agree with this Twitter user, Pooja, because Harry and the truth don't belong in the same sentence. He and Meghan have both been caught lying repeatedly. So who is holding the media to account? William, because he already did it. And by the way, the judge put out a statement, as you can see at the above. The claimant, that's Harry, was responsible for attempting to mislead and confuse the public as to the true position. And this is ironic, given that he has held a public role in tackling misinformation. Booyah! All right, moving on. I had to just throw this in there because, after Harry slammed his family and Oprah and the Spare and everything, he lost a lot of his old friends. And one friend who did stand by him was this guy named James Haskell, who is a former England rugby star who also, by the way, went to Harry and Meghan's wedding. He said that he and Harry would often talk about parenting, and he even defended Harry's, decision to put out Spare. He said, and I'm quoting, "When someone feels like they and their partner have been oppressed, lied about, contradicted, and put into a corner, I think it's important to speak out." However, at the same time, he finally let it slip. He says Harry has changed for the worst since he married Meghan Markle. Yep. So this guy was on a stage at the Bath Forum in Somerset for the World Cup after party. It was titled The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which is a live version of their rugby podcast. He was talking about how he met Harry at Mike and Zara Phillips' wedding. And he said, you know, he was having a really good time then, but that was before he met Meghan, when he was still fun. And I have to tell you, I think that just says it all, doesn't it? Yep. All right, moving on. All right, I hate to put this out here, but I have to. Omid is now claiming that people are silencing him and won't allow him to plug his book, that it's full of royal revelations that the press hasn't reported on, blah, 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 blah. The truth of the matter is, we all know what he did. Nobody's interested. The book is not selling. I think last count, it sold 9,000 in the United States and 6,500 in the UK. I think we all know just how bad that is. Well, this next picture was sent to me by the Duchess of Dub. Apparently, Omid had a Q&A with Endgame's Omid Scobie. And, there you go. Oh, my God. All right. Next up, I had to bring this up because, you know, Harry and Meghan put out that video I showed you guys the other day. But in all of this, these are things that they've latched on to. She's latched on to, you know, Invictus. She's latched on to, they latch onto other people's work and then try to take credit. Whereas Catherine and William's video clearly shows the work that they did for other people's charities, which is what, you know, that's supposed to be about. I completely agree with Richard Eden. You lend a hand to other people's charities, but you want one of your own. You know what I mean? They're doing everything for themselves, not for others. All right, I just had to touch on this. They're saying now that, you know, Meghan is going to make a sacrifice for the sake of her marriage, and she's open to moving back to the UK because it'll make Harry happier and it'll help mend their relationship with King Charles. She hates the UK. She's never going back there. This is nothing but a PR puff piece. What they're looking for is a place to live so Harry won't lose his Counselor of State position. Yep. And finally, Harry and Meghan finally dropped their Christmas card, and we were all like, what? This was absolutely nothing but a business card. On behalf of the office of Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Archwell Productions and Archwell Foundation, we wish you a happy holiday season. They didn't even say Merry Christmas. They used an old photo from Invictus that's been photoshopped. And to top it all off, there's a big like arrow thing right in the middle that you press. Like, what the hell is that? It's like they were too busy to even, use a picture without one of these stupid things in the middle. Now, people are like, they didn't bring the kids. They didn't put the kids up. Guys, I've told you they're only going to use the children when they need it for PR or money. I'm telling you, those children are a commodity, nothing more. And of course, to top it all off, they're trying to spin it like this card is just the most fabulous thing. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, WME is putting out articles saying that their card reeks of success and hints at political moves. I don't think so. All right, you guys, lots of information, I know, but don't forget to put those comments down. Don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button. If you've already subscribed, double check, make sure you're still subscribed. If you've donated to anything through my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.